So, Rob, I don't know if you get told something three times within a space of, let's say, 5 minutes. Would you not listen? And I thought to myself, man, why am I being told this over and over and over again? And in Isaiah 41, the word do not be afraid gets used three times just in this one chapter, right? And I chose this specific one because it got so close to my heart, man. And that is in chapter 10. Do not be afraid. I'm with you. I'm your God. Let nothing terrify you. I will make you strong and help you. I will protect you and save you. And I mean, in our business, how many times are we a bit terrified? In our business, how many times do we need strength? And how many times do we actually need a little bit of help or help? And in your business, Rob, I want to ask you, in the times that you have actually reached out to someone and you've asked for help, how beneficial has that been for you?
Immensely. In fact, I can think of a number of people straight off the bat who I've reached out to at different points in time. They've obviously often not done anything physically for me, but I've got one guy who sticks in mind who just put a few things in perspective for me, and I was that I and even I'm looking at buying another property. It's quite a big property as well at the moment. The same guy said, "Well, okay, it's a large amount of money, and every month it's a large amount of money, and this, that, and the other. But how many new clients is it?" And I was like, "Oh, it's three or four." He said, "And how does that feel if you just to target getting one new client every 2 or 3 weeks over the next 12 weeks? You'd have your four clients, and then you'd have the new property paid for, wouldn't you?" And just that sort of help teaches you how to fish as opposed to just being given fish. It would be very easy for the same guy to go, "Oh, well, I'll introduce you to three or four people and or just do this, this, and this." But actually, the question of the perspective of, well, how many new clients is it? And do you think you could target getting one every 3 weeks over 12 weeks and have the four, and then you've got the money? It teaches you how to think differently, and that's kind of like fishing differently. Yeah, and that shows that God's
Well,
present within all of us, right? Within every conversation we have, that He's equipping other people to have conversations with us, for us, without us realizing it. But tell me about you, though, about asking for help or waiting for help, or especially in times when you've been afraid.
it's quite amazing. That was my next point, right? That when help comes to you, it causes for the fear to basically subside and to vanish and to be gone. And it can, exactly like you said, it can come in the form of just advice, someone leading you in the right direction, but also not giving it to you on a silver platter, still allowing you to go and do the work. And that is that's major. I love that. And in my case, I think it's always a hard thing to ask for help. I don't know why, and I don't know where this comes from necessarily. I think by default we get taught this as children because you sometimes tell a child you have to start doing this yourself now. You have to start doing this yourself, which there's a good and a bad thing about that, where you are teaching them, of course, to be a bit independent and to learn how to do things themselves, because that also counts as that part that you said, that you don't have to get everything on a silver platter. It teaches them to also go fish. But also, I think one thing that and I know that I always say this to my son as well, and I don't know why I've always said this very loudly to him, is that when I see he's struggling with something and he gets a bit frustrated, these are my next words always to him: ask for help. Ask for help. Like, I remember saying this to him each and every time: ask for help whenever I see him struggling with something. And I think that's me most probably trying to have a healthy balance between, yes, you can do it yourself, but if you see that you're struggling a little bit, be okay to ask for help. Let that be also a nature within you to be able to ask for help. And I guess that's an area where I struggled with a lot, to be able to just say, "Hey, man, please help." It always felt like, okay, now I owe you a favor. It almost felt like, oh goodness gracious, now I can't do this myself. How is this guy gonna be? How is this guy gonna look at me? But overall, asking for help has helped me so much, and it's taken me out of a situation where I most probably feared in taking on something, or most probably feared in doing something, into feeling that hey, there's someone here with me. There's someone here that would support me, and there's someone seeing me through this, that most probably went through this themselves, and that they can pass on the knowledge to me is such a blessing at the moment, you know? So I'm always looking out for help now more than not looking out for help.
It's strange because the first part of this is don't be afraid, right? Which is so heavily repeated throughout the entirety of the Bible in different ways.
100%. Yeah.
I do think that we all avoid truth by fear, by fear. So we're avoiding truth by putting something off and procrastinating. And yet the only thing is that will set us free is the truth. And the truth can come in so many ways. There's the truth, obviously, of Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit, and the truth that Jesus died for our sins, and so on and so forth. But there's the truth of clients saying that they no thank you for the next 12 months. Maybe they've done 3 or 4 years with you and they're like, no, I've got to a good place now. And you know that's coming. Anybody who has a business where you're yearly or quarterly or 6 monthly renegotiating with clients, the client will reach a point in time. And I think we avoid and we put it off, put it off, put it off, put it off. But actually I'm thinking about myself. I've got a lot of client negotiations coming up end of February through to early April. And I've decided today to start having those conversations now. Traditionally, I'd have left them for a month. But at least if people say no now, for whatever reason, it's not that they don't like the service or anything else, it's just, it is what it is. At least that buys me 6 to 8 weeks to actually start replacing the clients if they say no. And so I think by being afraid, what we end up doing is denying ourselves of opportunity, giving away control, and like hiding from the truth. Really speaking, this Isaiah part is so important because what we're actually doing is asking the client for help. We're saying, hey, how are we continuing together? How does that look like? We're actually getting them to help us ahead of time, to buy us time to solve our own problem. And I think that don't be afraid thing, none of us want to hear that somebody doesn't want to continue with us. And yet in every business on planet Earth, it is a reality. It doesn't matter what your product is, what your service is. It is just a reality. Clients will go on their own path eventually. Tell me, how do you bring "Don't Be Afraid" into your world? Like, what do you do to achieve that?
There's a wise man that once told me, Tabby, so there's a whole lot of balloons in the air and you have to start pulling them down. I don't know if you know who that
I have
wise
no
man
idea
is.
who that was.
I'm speaking to him right now. And that for me was because of fearing. It's because I know that there's a lot of things hanging in the air, and that yes, I have to start putting them down one by one to face the truth. And there's been a lot of instances like that where most probably there's a client that I'm waiting for feedback. I've given them a quote on doing something, and now it's like the hurry up and wait. Now you're waiting, and now you're scared to actually send them a mail because you're scared that they're going to decline, or you're scared that they don't want to work with you. But so much truth in what you're telling or what you're saying there is that, rather them telling you that, hey, unfortunately, we're not going to continue now, which then saves you. And it gets to this part, man, I love this. It gets to this part of, I will protect you and save you in Isaiah 41, verse 10. I think it saves you a lot of time. It saves you a lot of money. It saves you some emotion as well, that is basically all over the place, that you cannot really afford to have all over the place if you're a business guy, because you have to serve your current clients with due diligence. And of course, it saves you from you sometimes, because man, I don't know why we do this as human beings, but we can go to the extents of the world with our minds, man. Like, if a client maybe doesn't want to work with you, you can literally think so bad of yourself at times. Whereas it's like you say, it's just another service. It's maybe because they have reached at a place where they can continue on their own, or they've reached a place where they're like, hey, Tubbs, maybe you as a talent, we've had you now, it's the fifth time. We want to shake something up and get something new. And you're like, and yeah. I think that also comes to challenge our scarcity mentality. And that is something that has been coming up quite a lot in my world this year, is that Tubbs, you cannot have a scarcity mentality. There's always work and there will always be work. And if there isn't work, you go and create work.
That's it. But this also comes back to the difference between hope and belief, right?
Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm.
We end up through fear becoming an ostrich where we bury our head in the sand, avoiding conversations with people and avoiding conversations with clients and avoiding marketing and avoiding whatever it is in the hope that it will all be fine. But really our faith, if we're going to apply it in our business, has not a lot to do with hope. I don't hope that Jesus died for my sins. I have the belief of certainty that he did. And so we need to bring more certainty in. We might not like certainty, but we need to have the certainty, because the certainty of belief gives us the opportunity of growth. Whereas I'm going to put off all the conversations I don't want to have in the hope that they just kind of resolve themselves and go away, or the hope the client brings the conversation up with me as opposed to me bringing it up with them, or whatever it may well be. All of that actually is playing into this idea of I'm not ready to believe. And that is a scary place to be, because that really is the work of Satan.
Yeah, man. I'm immediately thinking of this one client that I have to, was probably after we're done here, I'll have to mail them. I believe in the power of immediate, so I'm going to do it right now.
But out of certainty comes clarity, right? So out of a definite thing comes the clarity. I know where I am. And now a lot of what we need to do to find out new clients in our businesses isn't that hard. But we know better to know now that we need to start now than it is to know in 8 weeks' time.
100%, 100%. And to you as our viewer as well, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch me and Rob have a bit of a jab and a blab on the word. And I hope this challenges you in a very, very good way into not being afraid, and into knowing how to save a bit of time, and into tackling those things that sometimes terrify you, but knowing that God is with you.